Hey guys, so I've already applied foundation here, and what I'm doing is I'm putting under eye cream underneath my eyes, just moisturizing it a little bit before we get started, and I'm using Bobbi Brown's Perfect Eye. Then I'm starting with the first layer of concealer underneath of my eyes, on the bridge of my nose, on my forehead, on my upper lip, and on my chin. And then here I also do a little bit underneath of my cheekbones on each side. Here I'm using a damp beauty blender to blend it all in, and I'm going to be spraying it with my MAC Prep+Prime+Fix, and I just blended in all of the places where I've applied the concealer. Here I'm going to set the first layer of concealer that I've applied under my eyes with the MAC finishing powder. A lot of people don't do this, they're just going to put layers and layers, but my makeup tends to kind of sink in, so I basically set each layer of foundation after I've done it. I had to stop for a quick second because my daughter woke up from her nap halfway through the tutorial, but now we're applying the second coat of foundation, and I'm using a different foundation. I'm using Estee Lauder Double Wear, and I bought it in a shade. It's like a shade or two lighter than my actual skin color, and that's what you should be using to highlight. But I'm applying it under my eyes, and I'm not going to do the bridge of my nose or anything else like that. I'm just going to do under my eyes for this layer. Then I take my beauty blender and I blend it in again. Now this is the fun part. This is the part where you're actually going to bake your face. So I'm taking one of those little foam squares you can buy at CVS, Walmart, wherever, and I'm going to damp it nice and well with the MAC Prep & Prime. It's the Prep+Prime+Fix, and I'm just going to do a couple light sprays, and I'm going to get as much powder as I can out, and I'm going to put, you're going to want to be really generous with the powder here, and you're just putting it on all of the places that you did the highlighting. So first under your eyes, on your chin, underneath of your cheekbones, on your nose, and then on your forehead. So then after you're done, you should be left with something that looks a little scary like this. And don't worry, you're going to be able to wipe it off. It wipes off really easy afterwards. But we're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes. Now you can just flick off the translucent powder right away, but for a little bit more coverage I'm going to use a pressed powder. So I'm taking a small brush and I'm just getting the pressed powder on there. I'm using a pretty generous amount, and I'm just kind of carefully flicking away the excess powder while also, getting a little bit more coverage. Once you've flicked off all the translucent powder, then you're done with the baking part, and you can move on to the contouring, adding the dark on the sides of your nose, on your cheekbones, on your forehead, and I just blend it in here like I do with my normal routine. You can make a few adjustments if you need to. Like on one side of my face, I realized that I didn't have enough contour, so I put a little more. I put a little more pressed powder underneath of my eyes, and you're basically just doing finishing touches. I did bronzer, a little bit of blush, and then that was pretty much it. And you should have a really put together, finished look when you're done. It really makes your skin look silky smooth, no matter how many breakouts or whatever you may be having. It made my skin look baby smooth, and it was definitely showed a difference for me.